Hey, how's it going everybody? Today we're doing 10 reasons to buy the A7 IV in 2023. Alright, starting off at number 1, of course it's the 4K 10-bit video. And this is hands down the biggest upgrade over the previous generation of Sony cameras. The A7S III kind of kicked things off, but Sony didn't really save this feature just for their higher end bodies. They brought it right down to the A7 IV, which is technically their entry-level full-frame camera, and it definitely does not disappoint. So if you're looking for like the best 4K image Sony has to offer, it's this guy right here. Number 2 is the 33 megapixel sensor. Now, full transparency, I'm not really a photographer. I've had this body for about 14 months or so, and I've maybe taken like 50 photos with it. But Sony did give this camera the exact same autofocusing system from their flagship A1, and they bumped up the resolution from 24 to 33 megapixels. You could argue that that's all you really need from like Instagram posts to like big prints. So overall, I would say that's a general win for like day-to-day use if somebody's just getting into photography or they're trying to take it to the next level. This camera will not disappoint. Next up, we have the plug-and-play USB streaming. So Sony includes a USB Type-C cable in the box, which lets you stream at 1080p at up to 60 frames a second. No software, no hassle. You just plug your camera in. You're gonna get a little dialog box where you just choose USB streaming, and that's it. This is really amazing if you work from home and you wanna use this as a very overkill webcam, which I do all the time. But also if you wanna use this to stream straight to YouTube or Twitch, you can do that as well, and it just works. Number 4, we have the video autofocus. And we briefly touched on photo autofocus, but this camera actually has the upgraded IAF for video, which is honestly out of this world. And I'm somebody who used to own the A7 III. I had that camera for about 4.5 years or so, and that had actually pretty solid facial tracking. It would work fine most of the time. I had no complaints really, until I figured out that it had some really quirky limitations, like if you connected a monitor to the camera, it would stop working. If you shot in 4K 30, it would stop working. So just little annoyances like that. This camera, none of that, and they upgraded to the IAF. And believe me when I say this, it does not miss. So the IAF is amazing, and the touch to focus is actually really good as well. And overall, they just have some really nice settings in the camera as well, which you can control the sensitivity and the speed of the focus, which is just the cherry on top. Next up, we have dual native ISOs. And again, this is one of those pro features that you wouldn't necessarily expect from an entry-level camera like the A7 IV, but it's here and it's fantastic. So in S-Log3, your first base ISO is at 800 and the next one is at 3200. So at those two ISOs, you're basically getting a completely noise-free, clean image. The A7S III had a similar feature, but it would do that at 640 and 12,800, which of course is better for more extreme scenarios, but I would argue that the 800 and 3200 combo is better for more like everyday situations. If you're shooting a wedding and reception combo, if you're doing a short film where sometimes you're in a slightly darker situations, some music videos, commercials, stuff like that, and maybe urban nighttime photography. So this camera I think is just a little bit more versatile for like the everyday shooter. Number 6, we have the focus breathing compensation. And this is actually a feature that launched for the first time with the A7 IV, and it works with almost all of Sony's native glass. And it works by just knowing the extent of the focus breathing in all of those lenses, and it applies a slight crop, and it basically corrects for the focus breathing. So if you're okay with a little bit of a crop, it pretty much works like magic. At number 7, we have crop mode and clear image zoom. Now these aren't necessarily new to the A7 IV, but they are definitely a deadly combo. They were missing in the A7S III because when shooting in 4K in that camera, it just doesn't have enough resolution to pull off crop mode, but its return in the A7 IV is absolutely fantastic. And the combination of crop mode and clear image zoom, you can pretty much get a 2x crop without losing any noticeable quality at all, which is honestly fantastic, and I use it all the time. And a bonus tip on top, you can actually set up your clear image zoom as like these two buttons right here. So essentially while recording, you can just hit this to zoom in and that to zoom out, and it basically works like a zoom rocker, which is fantastic. Number 8, we have the new menus. Basically, this camera has a new chip, which allows it to have newer menus. The new menus are so nice, they're nicely laid out, they're even color-coded, all the different sections, and it even has separate settings for photos and videos, which change out automatically depending on which mode you're in. Of course, I can't believe the older cameras didn't have that. It's absolutely fantastic to use, and after having the old menus for almost a decade, this is a much needed breath of fresh air. At number 9, we have no record limit. This is one of those amazing quality of life features. I used to have the A7 III, which had the 30-minute record limit, and I shot almost 40-ish weddings with it. And just going back and forth between the camera, making sure it's still recording, it is super annoying. And especially if you have like 4 or 5 cameras going at the same time, which I usually did, you're pretty much guaranteed to miss something. So just having the peace of mind that my camera will just keep recording until I tell it to stop, it's just so nice. Last but definitely not least, we have the lovely HDMI port. And honestly, it was time for the micro HDMI to go. It was super finicky, just horrible to use. It would break all the time. I actually had a cage on my A7 III pretty much full time, just to have the little micro HDMI clamp attached to it to extend the life of my HDMI port. And I really didn't like doing that at all. But overall, this solves all the issues. It's reliable, the cables are easy to find, it's just a better experience. So yeah, overall, just a big win for this camera having the full-size HDMI. So that was my list of 10 reasons why you should go with the A7 IV in 2023. If this video helped you make a decision or you just found it helpful, then please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you guys next time.